everyone, I decided to do my final presentation on Mariah Carey and her historical impact on music and really just how she's revolutionized the abilities of what we thought the human voice was capable of. She has a 5-octave range, which is very impressive. But it was also very interesting to get to know a little bit about her background and what influenced her growing up. Carey was born on March 27, 1970 in Huntington, New York, to parents Patricia and Alfred Roy Carey. A fun fact is she has 2 older siblings, a brother Morgan and a sister Allison. Her mom growing up was an opera singer and vocal coach, and many say that this was Mariah's inspiration for singing at such a young age, while her father was actually an engineer. She has a very diverse background. As you can see, her mom was of Irish descent and her father was of African and Venezuelan descent, which deemed her as a biracial artist in the 90s. At the age of only 18, she was signed to Columbia Records by President Tommy Mottola, and then she was immediately sent to work on her first album, Mariah Carey, which included her first 4 #1 singles, Vision of Love, Love Takes Time, Someday, and I Don't Want to Cry. Her success with this album earned her Grammy Awards as Best New Artist and Best Female Vocalist. On top of her debut album, Mariah Carey, Carey released several other albums within the 90s. The title track from her second album, Emotions, became her 5th #1 single, in addition to hits Can't Let Go and Make It Happen. Additionally, an MTV Unplugged cover of the Jacksons' I'll Be There resulted in another #1 single. Her third album, Music Box, included #1 singles Dream Lover and Hero. She continued to just, release hit after hit with Fantasy from her Daydream album and Heartbreaker and Thank God I Found You from her Rainbow album. So she continued to producing more hits as time went on, which eventually pushed her ahead of Elvis Presley in April of 2008. So Carey grew up on various genres of music, specifically gospel, classic soul, and R&B. These records were from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So R&B, or rhythm and blues music, is a term used to describe the blues-influenced form of music which has been predominantly performed by African Americans since the late 1930s. The term was created to replace race music, which was the standard catchphrase used to reference black music. So the rhythm part comes from the music's typical dependence on 4-beat measures or bars and the liberal use of a backbeat, in which the 2nd and 4th beats are accented in each measure. And the blues part comes from the lyrics and melodies of the song. So usually the lyrics would give off a very sad sound. Some examples of R&B groups in the 40s and 50s included the Armstrong 4, the Cardinals, and the Clovers. There were hints throughout Carey's music for her love of hip-hop, but it was restricted under her label until 1995 when it flourished in her single Fantasy. Like any other style of music, hip-hop was shaped by multiple artists. However, it's argued that it officially came to life at a birthday party in West Bronx, New York City in 1973. Clive Campbell, also known as Jamaican-born DJ Kool Herc, was the original founding father of hip-hop. His signature innovation came from observing how the crowds would react to different parts of whatever record he happened to be playing. From this, he decided to switch back and forth between 2 records repeatedly. This trick was called the merry-go-round, and today is known as the breakbeat. He would often speak over a rhythmic beat and would extend the beat of a record using 2 players, isolating the drum breaks by using a mixer to switch between the 2. This was commonly known as scratching. So I'm going to play you a snippet from the Tom Tom Club's Genius of Love so you can hear how Mariah Carey kind of incorporated it into her Fantasy track. that, I'm going to now play her fantasy track so you can hear how she incorporated this sample into her music. So as you just heard, her single Fantasy created the perfect mix of hip-hop, pop, and R&B. The track sampled from the Tom Tom Club's Genius of Love, which you also heard, which itself was a legend in the hip-hop community for its significance in helping hip-hop become more mainstream. By sampling such an iconic track, Mariah was able to connect with her fans in both pop and hip-hop, and it also allowed her to prove herself among those who were critiquing her. Additionally, her flexible voice and songwriting made her one of the faces of more music. Middle of the road, or more, loosely describes any type of music that falls between popular and art music, and also includes the work of serious composers who write in a lighter style than normal. It's broadly popular music and often features strong vocal harmony techniques and orchestral arrangements. Regardless of the hardships she faced as a biracial female artist in the music industry, Mariah Carey is the most successful selling female artist in music history and is the only female artist to have the most #1 singles and albums. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish everyone the best of luck with finishing up the rest of their semester.